everyone. I hope you can hear me. I am just so excited to be here. This is the voice and the face of Dr. Funke Afolabi-Brown, just checking in to make sure that, okay, so listen, I've had times when, my audio just doesn't come through. So I'm going to just check to make sure so that we're all good. Okay, great. We are. Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Funke Afolabi-Brown. I am the founder of Restful Sleep MD and the Restful Sleep Place, where we talk about all things sleep with one mission in mind to help you sleep better so that you can thrive and reach your fullest potential. So, today is an awesome day. Today is a great day to be alive. Today is my 19th wedding anniversary. That's a long time. We've made it through the teen years and just really excited. And so I'm going to keep this short. I also want to just encourage you to lean in because the tips I'm going to share today are tips that's going to help you, whether you're experiencing these like groggy mornings right now or not. There will be seasons, there will be times when you'll find out that it's just really hard to get out of bed. And it might be because you went to bed late, or it might just be because it's so cold and you just don't feel like getting out of bed. And the reason why I decided to come share this topic with you today is because of a couple of reasons. Over the last maybe 1 or 2 weeks, this is really interesting, almost like weird, actually pretty interesting and weird at the same time. I have had three of my patients, literally three of my patients, not show up for their appointments. And do you know why? They could not get out of bed. They were that exhausted. So, of course, you can imagine that that's why they're coming to see me to get to the bottom of their exhaustion. So, this is a real issue. And and so, I was like, oh my goodness, this is something that's really, really troublesome. I mean, enough for you to miss your doctor's appointment, your sleep doctor's appointment. Lola said, gets it very difficult getting up. So, yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about today. Thank you for joining. So, hang tight. I'm going to share some tips today because, especially now that, number one, it gets dark later, it gets dark earlier, and then it's cold. So, there are many reasons why you might not want to get out of bed, regardless of the reason. We're going to talk about why and how you should get out of bed. So here's the thing. You might have, difficulty sleeping, and so that's why you're getting out of bed late. So it's hard for you to get out of bed. You might have a sleep condition we call delayed sleep wake phase syndrome. So that's like you're a night owl. And so of course it's hard for you to fall asleep early. So you end up going to bed late. And you may find out that you want to sleep in. And so because of that, you may end up being late to work or late to school for your kids, whatever. Or it might be that there's an underlying sleep disorder. So things like sleep apnea or restless leg syndrome. I mean, I talk about this all the time on this channel. Regardless, you got to get out of bed. You got to wake up and start your day. You got to beat those groggy mornings. So, what are some practical strategies? Now, there's a protocol we tend to talk about within the sleep community, and it is called the Rise Up Protocol. It's an acronym. I'm a fan of acronyms. So, Rise Up Protocol, that's what we're going to be talking about today. So, what is the Rise Up Protocol? It is just a way to beat that excessive sleepiness. That sleep inertia you have in the morning that makes you want to hit snooze and hit snooze multiple times? Exactly. So, this protocol will actually jumpstart your day and get things moving. But here's the thing, you have to do it. You have to be a participant, and it might not feel comfortable initially. But if you can make this just part of your routine, it's going to be a game changer in helping you to, at least get started in your day. And then I'll tell you what you need to do if these issues persist. Because many times, remember, we talk a lot about, oh, this is what you need to do for your bedtime routine. You need to read a book. You need to, you're kind of winding down. So if you think about it, to go to bed, you're winding down your brain, you're winding down your body, you're letting go of the day, you're practicing gratitude, you're journaling, you're spending time with family, right? You're avoiding bright lights, maybe taking a shower to kind of help you to cool down and all of that good stuff, right? You're setting up your environment to be dark, to be conducive for sleep. Here's the thing. Most of the time, we don't talk about morning routines. We don't talk about what to do. Want to get out of bed, to make sure you get out of bed, to combat those groggy mornings and to really, really jumpstart your day. So that's exactly what the Rise Up Protocol is. It's literally almost the opposite of what you're doing at nighttime. It's almost the exact opposite. So Rise Up. R is, so I'm going to go through those letters, RISE and then up, UP. So R stands for refrain from snoozing. Now, if you're one of those snoozers, please hear me. You're doing more harm to yourself than good. I would actually prefer, instead of hitting the snooze button, that you literally set the alarm for a little bit later. So if you start hitting snooze, maybe you're supposed to get out of bed at, I don't know, 6:30 or 6 a.m. And now you've set the alarm from 5:30 and you're hitting snooze every 7 minutes because you're like, okay, at least eventually it will help me get out of bed. It's actually worse because now you're losing 30 minutes of continuous sleep. So I did a video, it's on YouTube, on why you should refrain from snoozing. So I'm not going to go into that detail, but do not hit snooze. Refrain from snoozing. In fact, I wish they eliminated that snooze button. It jars you, it wakes you up in a way that's completely unnatural, and it actually makes you have more sleep inertia. So try not to hit that snooze button, okay? And this is another reason why I would recommend you put that phone a little bit distant from you. So not something within arm's reach, because if it's within arm's reach, you're more likely to hit snooze. So R stands for refrain from snoozing. And then the second letter is I. The second activity is I, which is increase physical activity. The sooner you get moving, the better. And what does movement look like? It might look like a couple of stretches. Just really stretch, to get that blood flowing. Maybe, do a little bit of a stretch on the floor, do some jumping jacks. It doesn't have to be excessive. Again, the goal is you're getting blood circulating as soon as possible. The longer you lay in bed dreading your day, the harder it is to get out of bed. So literally spring out of bed, get moving, and that it is going to beat that grogginess. The third thing, right, is S. What does S stand for? S stands for shower or wash your face. When you splash, I mean, I wouldn't say cold water, but maybe some cool water either on your face or you take a quick shower. That also helps kind of promote alertness. Like, I don't think you're gonna fall asleep standing up taking a shower, right? I'm hoping not. If you are, you need to be evaluated for a sleep disorder. But getting out, taking that quick shower, jumpstart your day, get moving. That is so, so important. And then the next letter is E. So I said rise up. So E stands for expose yourself to sunlight or natural light. So depending on where you are, you might be in a place where, maybe it doesn't get light soon enough. But make sure you just expose yourself to light as soon as possible. Natural light is preferable. You can use artificial light. So, in fact, within this season, this winter season, a lot of people have the winter blues. A lot of people start to have symptoms of depression. You can actually get a light box. And what that does is it exposes you to very high, what we call lux. That's how we measure the intensity of the light. High lux of light. And that actually helps you to be more alert. So, that's something you can do. If it's still dark outside, get a light box, or we have different glasses. There's the IO wearable glasses, IO wearable glasses. That is a phenomenal tool. It's actually what we call circadian rhythm glasses. They're really, really good. I don't have it next to me here, but it is something in fact, maybe I'll throw the link to the product here. It's really, really good, especially for people who have winter blues. You just wear it maybe for about 30 minutes, go about your day, brush your teeth, start getting your day started, and you just put it right on. I think it is so powerful. Again, especially if you're in a place where there's not enough light. So we talked about refrain from snoozing. We talked about increase physical activity, whatever that looks like. Move, stretch, literally a stretch, a really good stretch. It's a good place to start. And then S is shower or wash your face or just splash water on you. And then E stands for expose yourself to sunlight or natural light, some form of light as soon as possible. Don't stay in a dark room. And this is really important. I'm going to tell you what to do with it. If it's your kid, if you have kids that have a hard time getting out of bed, they're very groggy in the morning. I'll tell you how to sort of modify this protocol to help them as well, right? So we've talked about RISE, right? The next is you, right? So what is you? You is upbeat music. Get moving. I'm telling you, if you can put on some music, if you can, Dominic said, I want to hibernate when the light changes. I do not blame you. Everybody wants to hibernate, except it's not really good for our circadian rhythms, our health overall, and our productivity, right? But you're totally not alone. So upbeat music. So what does that look like? You may just tell Alexa to play a song. Literally, that just kind of gets you in a better mood, in an upbeat mood. And that can also help you kind of beat that grogginess. You know what you could do while you're listening to upbeat music? Start moving. So that you get points for increasing your physical activity to the music that's going on. So it's perfect, two for the price of one. So maybe have your favorite tunes that are on, and you could actually set it. You could just actually automatically have it set for when you naturally would wake up and just get that music going. And then P stands for phone a friend. Really, what does that mean? I mean, all your friends might be sleeping, so that might not be very helpful. Or maybe it would be. Maybe you have accountability. So the way I've adopted this is to just have someone to keep you accountable. It might be a spouse, it might be your child, it might be a friend. Maybe both of you are struggling with getting out of bed in the morning, and then you'll tag him to say, okay, you got to call me. And you guys just have a conversation. It is really, really hard for you to have a conversation. Hopefully, I mean, again, if you're falling asleep during a conversation, that's not really normal. So you probably should be evaluated for sleep disorder. So I'm just going to put that out there. But phone a friend, find someone to start talking to, get engaged. It might be the dog, whatever. Just start talking to someone as soon as possible. So rise up, refrain from snoozing, increase physical activity, shower or splash your face, expose yourself to light, listen and dance to upbeat music, and phone a friend. So, so important. These things seem very simple, but if you will follow this, I promise you, you're going to ditch that grogginess faster. Another thing that I always recommend is hydration, especially if you've really had a rough night of sleep. It's really important to stay hydrated. When you're hydrated, you ditch that fatigue feeling that you might tend to have because over the course of the night, we have what we call insensible water loss. So you may be sweating, you may be mouth breathing. So you're a little bit dehydrated in the morning. So you really want to get some water, drink some water, as soon as possible, maybe within the first 30 minutes or so of waking up. That will also help with getting things moving. Okay, so we've talked about the riser protocol. Now, a lot of this is applicable to anybody. It is applicable to your kids, it is applicable to your teenagers, and of course, it's applicable to you as a parent. But here's what I need you to do when you're going to help your teenagers. Remember when I started this live, one of the things I said was I literally have had 3 patients in 1 week who could not come for their appointment because they could not get out of bed. And guess what group of kids of patients these were? These were teenagers. And we always talk about this on this channel a lot as well. The fact that our teenagers are in a really bad setup for poor sleep. Their circadian rhythm is delayed, so they don't feel sleepy until late. They have to wake up super early in the morning, which is really at the point where they're most sleepy. So it's very, very hard for them. They're trying to catch up on sleep on the weekends. They have all the school pressure, early school start times. They have devices that they're competing against and social media that they're competing against. So they're really in a setup. So we have to sometimes really help them, especially if you have that teen who is just really having a hard time, really struggling with getting out of bed in the morning, always almost, missing the bus. I've seen many, many kids constantly miss the bus because they just cannot get out of bed. And many parents are telling me, listen, we are pouring water on this child, we're doing all kinds of things to get them out of bed, and they are really, really having a hard time. So, Rise Up protocol will work. I would say one of the things you can do that I've really seen a lot of impact with the teenagers I work with is a loud alarm clock, a loud one, not the phone alarm, no, like a literal booming alarm clock. In fact, if you go on Amazon, you can actually type in booming alarm clock for heavy sleepers, and that might help them. But another thing that I like, that I actually prefer, because the booming alarm clock again is super jarring, and some kids actually sometimes sleep through it, believe it or not, is what we call the sunrise clock. Why is that preferable? Because it's a more natural way of waking up. So the way it is, and that literally follows this rise up protocol, that E, which is expose yourself to light. So these alarms first just kind of release super bright light. So the light just kind of comes on, almost like it almost feels like it's daytime, right? And so, even through closed eyes, you can perceive light. You can, so if you close your eyes, you know when someone turns off the light, right? So, the same thing with a sunrise alarm clock, you can literally perceive the light, and that kind of starts to it's almost like send those signals to your brain to say, okay, it's morning, it's daytime, so that the melatonin that's actually, helping you to stay asleep and all of that starts to turn off. So that is one thing I would say you may want to consider if you have a deep, heavy teenage sleeper. A lot of them are. That might help them. It might be very helpful. Another thing that can help is if you go to their room, open their windows, open it, please. They're gonna try to put their blankets over their faces and things like that. Gently say, you know what, this light is gonna help you. Of course, you want to have conversations about this prior to just bombarding their room and doing all that. But those are really strategies that would definitely help. And if you're someone who, you could give them a little chore in the morning, like, maybe take the dog out real quick once you wake up, just something to get them moving. This is really important. If you are noticing that you follow this rise up protocol, you're still having a hard time kicking that grogginess, you're still exhausted, you're actually sleepy during the day, there's more going on. Especially if you've had enough hours of sleep. So, what does enough hours of sleep mean? Maybe an adult, you're sleeping 7 to 9 hours, or your teenager is sleeping 8 to 10, and they or you are still waking up tired, like, oh my goodness, something is going on. There's something going on, which might be an organic sleep disorder. So sleep apnea is a common one. Restless leg syndrome is a common one. Narcolepsy. I'm seeing a lot of children now who have been misdiagnosed with ADD and depression, and it ends up being that they have narcolepsy. So if you are in a situation where you're constantly tired, drained, exhausted, you're constantly sleeping, you're falling asleep in the car, you're falling asleep while reading, you're falling asleep while watching TV, you're kind of just falling asleep nonstop, or you're just really, really sleepy and you feel so tired, it is important that you get evaluated because you might be struggling with a sleep disorder. And the thing about it is, sleep disorders are treatable. But if they're not treated, they have a lot of very negative long-term consequences. So we want to make sure that's addressed. So if you're out there, you have sleep issues, or you know someone, your child is struggling with sleep issues, and you've done all the things, you've taken these strategies and you've tried to implement them, you've done all the sleep hygiene stuff, and you still feel stuck, or your child feels stuck. They're missing the school bus. They're waking up exhausted. They're irritable nonstop. They're falling asleep at random places, something else is going on. They've been diagnosed with a mood disorder, some mental health issues. That is really, really something that you need to pay attention to, because something else might be going on. And what would be needed? They would need to be evaluated. And Lola mentioned that she likes upbeat music and the exposure to sunlight. So you've done all that and your child is still struggling, or you are still struggling. I want you to get evaluated again, because a lot of these disorders mimic other things. They mimic, maybe it's your hormones or depression or something else, but it might be sleep apnea. And sleep apnea, where you have pauses in breathing, oxygen is getting cut off from your brain multiple times at night. That is not a good place to be, right? So make sure that you speak with your child's doctor or your doctor about getting evaluated. And if you're in Pennsylvania or you're in California or you're in New Jersey and you're struggling with these issues and you're like, well, I mean, you're literally describing my life right now, Dr. Brown. I want you to schedule up an appointment with us. And the way you could do that is two ways. You could call our office. It's 215-607-8297. This is a very unique, very, very, very high touch, intimate practice that you'll speak with my assistant and we'll be able to get you scheduled. That's one. Or if you're one of those techie ones and you want to just schedule online, you could go straight to our website, www.therestfulsleepplace.com, and then we'll get you in, we'll get you evaluated. If you need sleep testing, if you need blood work, we'll be able to figure all this out. Our goal and our mission is to empower you so you can sleep well, so that you can live your best life. You don't want to spend, you know, most of your life while everybody is active and having a great time. You don't want to spend all that time sleeping. That's not fun. I mean, sleeping is great, but not when everything else is happening. And there are literally people out there walking, talking, who are literally sleeping their lives away. And that does not have to be you. You can actually wake up refreshed, energized. I've had people now that, I take care of, and they're like, oh my God, I didn't realize I was living in such a fog once we address their sleep issues. Like, oh my goodness, Dr. Brown, you've given me my life back, right? It is amazing. Relationships restored, grades going from like C to an A, like the kind of stories I hear from the families and the children that I work with, it literally makes me say, okay, we need to do more. We need to do more. And so, no more just groggy mornings, no more feeling exhausted all the time. All these issues can be addressed. There's help available. Lean in, reach out, help. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for making your sleep a priority. Now, if you're out there, I do have a very, very nice treat for you. Beyond Tired, the sleep physician's guide to solving your child's sleep problems for good is out. It's been on Amazon now for, oh my goodness, I can't believe it, 6 weeks. 6 weeks. Now, this was a book that made Amazon bestseller within hours of its release, and it has been phenomenal. The reviews have been amazing. Grab your copy if you haven't. There is stuff in there. It's not just for kids. I will tell you that if you're a parent, there's so much you would benefit, even for yourself. If you work in a school, if you're a specialist, if you're a physician, if you're a nurse, no matter what, if you're a teacher, this book has so much in store that will benefit you. So grab your copy from Amazon. And so I hope this has been helpful. We talked about the Rise Up protocol because we're going to beat those groggy mornings so that we can be the best versions of ourselves. And until next time, I hope you rest well.